Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Jack Cagle, and I have the privilege of serving you as the Commissioner of Harris County Precinct 4. And with me is my lovely bride. Where are we?
Oh, we're here at Kickarello Park.
And this is Janet Cagle, by the way, who makes my heart go pitter-patter. And we are the honorary co-hosts. Now, what that means, I'm not exactly sure, except for we get the privilege of saying welcome and the privilege of saying how wonderful it is that we get to serve you and work together with you for helping this awesome organization raise the necessary funds to be able to continue to serve our communities that we live, breathe, work, and play in. This year's theme is Wild About Texas. What's that theme?
Wild About Texas.
And we are wild about Texas. We've got awesome stuff that's going on tonight in our virtual gala. Now, one thing, though, about the virtual gala that's very, very important is that you don't become a virtual donor. We need real donors tonight so we can continue the great work of this amazing organization and the things that they do in our community. In fact, this is a time where the work of this organization is more important than ever before. We're in beautiful Kickarello Park, as my beloved has shared with you, but most days these days, my park folks say, are Saturday every day. Because when times are tough and you can't go to your normal locations and you have to maintain your social distancing, unless you're married to somebody, then it's important for you to have a place to be able to breathe, to stretch your legs, to enjoy. And so our parks these days are places to where every day is a Saturday. The busiest day of the week traditionally has been a Saturday, but not anymore. Now, we need to give thanks to our Bobcat level donors, and we have two of them. One is the Howard Hughes Corporation, and the other is Robbins Chevrolet and Nissan. So when you donate to us, remember that they have donated to us as well, and make sure that you give them your thanks and perhaps give them a little bit of your business. Our keynote speaker tonight is a Emmy award-winning nominated filmmaker and also happens to be an Aggie. I didn't go to Texas A&M, and my beloved didn't go to Texas A&M, but we love our Aggies that are out there. And he is an Emmy-nominated filmmaker, an Aggie, Ben Masters, whose bio will be attached somewhere on this screen, and the folks behind us will be talking about the amazing stuff that he has done with regard to filmmaking of the Wild About Texas theme that we have today. And we are celebrating conservation in the Houston area. You know, this is kind of like the hair club for men. When you participate and donate here, you aren't just being a spokesperson for our organization, but you can also be a participant. Because as you get out into our green spaces, you get to enjoy the beautiful wildlife. You get to enjoy the beautiful scenery that we have, and you get to participate in the preservation of things that, if we were not doing this work together, would go away and no longer be available to the public and could never be brought back. And so we do have bobcats in Precinct 4. We do have bobcats on the other side of Spring Creek, where Bayou Land Conservancy does a lot of work in partnership with Harris County. And we do have bobcats with regard to our sponsors, and you too can be a bobcat, a wildcat, a creature out there to make sure that we're able to preserve and do great and wonderful things. So join us as we raise funds in reality, as we do our gala virtually today. Welcome.
Welcome.
And welcome.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Lynn, Board Chair for the Bayou Land Conservancy. I want to thank the Kegels for being our honorary co-chairs tonight, and thank you all for tuning in to our first ever and hopefully last virtual gala. Tonight, we're broadcasting live from the Big Stone Lodge at the Dennis Johnson Park on the Spring Creek Greenway. As we all know, 2020 has been a challenging year for many reasons. The global pandemic has been a great disruptor in our lives, losing loved ones, losing jobs, not being able to celebrate special occasions with friends and family, and feeling disconnected. But if there is a silver lining to this whole experience, I hope it is that we all had a chance to slow down and reflect on what is truly important to us in our lives. For me, it was reevaluating how I can be better at serving the greater community and also appreciating the natural spaces in our very, very urban environment, spaces that we all share equally. So we acknowledge it's been a difficult year, and so we are especially grateful for your support that you've given to BLC. With you by our side, we've been able to continue our work and protect an additional 172 acres in the region. And if you're one of the many who took to the outdoors to find safe, physically distanced options for recreation, you probably noticed the thousands of other people who shared that same thought and discovered and maybe rediscovered the Spring Creek Nature Trail. Getting outside has been a lifesaver for us. My husband Sam and I are actually avid cyclists. It was our weekend bike trips or bike rides along the bayou trails by our home that really kept us sane. Finding new trail extensions, finding new connections. It was actually really fun, finding these things that we'd never actually ridden on before. And it was fun to be a tourist for once in Houston and seeing how this renewed sense of celebrating our green spaces was taking shape across the city. I even tried to take our cat on a bike ride one weekend in a cat backpack that I promised was not a pandemic purchase. That didn't go so well, but it was enjoyable for me, maybe not so much for her. Anyway, I'm grateful to be part of an organization that's taking a leading role in this outdoor renaissance. Now, let's find out how other people have been leaning on BLC to get through the pandemic.
My name is Roy Cuellar. I'm a Spring Creek Nature Trail steward. With my volunteer work with Bayou Land Conservancy, I'm definitely out here more often than I was before. I definitely have more time since I'm at home. I'll get out not only during the weekends, which is what I was restricted to before, but now on the weekdays. It's made a big difference being in the pandemic. You know, our trail, getting out and enjoying it and working on it.
I love being outside, I love nature, and just being a biker, I've always come out to bike the trails, and the trails are amazing. They're really beautiful. You see so many more people out, and you see people with dogs, baby strollers, jogging, biking. You know, it's just brought everybody out, you know, and maybe normally they wouldn't get out. It's kind of, I think, done a lot of good things for people.
What we've been hearing from our members is how much they've enjoyed going out on the preserves and getting outside because they needed to. They needed to feel like themselves again, and getting out and walking or riding the trails has helped them do that. And so it's made us at Bayou Land Conservancy so proud to be able to do this work and to preserve these spaces and build trails so that when people need them, they're there. And having fun and, you know, maybe smiling through their masks, but smiling as they're doing it.
I want to give a big shout out to the Bayou Land Conservancy crew, from the workers to those that are back in the office. You know, they all are dedicated to making this nature trail what it is today.
It's the only resource we have, and, you know, if we can't protect nature, I mean, it means so much. And, you know, a lot of the habitat is being lost. So the fact that there's birds here and there's wildlife here and we have this nature preserve, I mean, we could really treasure this because they're still coming here, and let's hang on to this and preserve it.
And I'm hoping more and more people will come out. You know, I see more and more people out there, and I encourage them to keep returning And they do, because I see them again and again, so it's great. I just encourage others to come out and see the work that Bayou Land Conservancy has been doing.
We're the only ones that can do it, you know, and for future generations, we want to be able to have something that doesn't disappear.
So, as you can see, our public outdoor spaces have been more important than ever during this time. As Commissioner Cagle said, every day is Saturday on the Spring Creek Nature Trail. Our national organization, the Land Trust Alliance, has a slogan that we like to use: land is the answer. And when we say that, we mean that land is the answer for everyone. Our trails and public preserves are for everyone in the community to enjoy. We want these spaces to feel welcoming, safe, inclusive, and accessible. We're working towards understanding what barriers certain groups face that prevent them from being able to explore these spaces, and figuring out how we can provide more opportunities for equitable access. Everyone deserves a chance to learn about and connect or reconnect with wildlife and the ecosystems in our region that make us unique. Tonight, we are asking you to help us raise needed funds to help support BLC's land conservation mission. In order to steward the more than 14,000 acres we already preserve and to seek out more land to protect, we need your help. Our goal for tonight's event is to raise $10,000. You have shown us over these difficult months that you have a heart for land conservation. Will you continue to show your love of protecting land by helping us fill this heart tonight? So we'll be checking in during this broadcast on our progress. Again, thank you so much for your support. Now, I'd like to introduce to you our fearless leader, our Executive Director, Jill Bouillon. Jill will be presenting our awards for 2020.
Thank you, Lisa. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for the pro tip, Lisa, about not taking your cat out on the trail. That will keep me from doing it in the future, I'm sure. So, as Lisa said, we're here at the beautiful Big Stone Lodge at Dennis Johnston Park on the Spring Creek Greenway. Thank you so much, Precinct 4, for being amazing partners to us. And to Commissioner Cagle and Janet, my personal thanks for being our honorary co-hosts. In your honor, we are going to place an etched plank on a bridge or boardwalk on the Spring Creek Nature Trail. So I can't wait to get out there and see your names out there. It's my honor tonight to present our awards. Each year, Bayou Land Conservancy gives our two highest awards at our gala, and this year's recipients are certainly deserving. Our first award is the Conservation Champion. Each year, we present an award to a person or a group who has had a special and very significant influence on land conservation. But before I get to that, a little background. Bayou Land Conservancy has been a leader in land conservation in the Houston area since the mid-1990s. We normally achieve our goals by working with landowners in a voluntary conservation agreement to help them protect their land in perpetuity. We become partners with that landowner to protect their land. We rarely consider ownership of land because of the additional obligations and responsibilities it brings to the organization. But in 2020, an opportunity was brought to us by our conservation champions, Don Porch and Joe Swinbank, to acquire 117 acres of forested wetlands on the north side of Spring Creek in the Tomball area. So we scouted the site, and we realized that it was such an opportunity to protect a real jewel, and not only that, but to connect people in the community to our land conservation mission. So we said yes. Joe and Don are true visionaries, and their vision came together with ours to create something really special. So now please join with me in hearing from Joe and Don.
I'm Joe Swinbank, and I'm partners with a guy named Donnie Porch, and we have been partners for 44 years. That business acquires land, and we mine sand. And we got introduced to Jill and the Bayou Land Conservancy on a wetlands mitigation bank. In that conversation, we learned about what Bayou Land Conservancy was really after, and it's these linear parks along creeks and bayous.
When we purchased the property, we're in the sand mining business, and we purchased it to mine sand off of it. We haven't ever gotten to that point. We've had it for multiple years, and the more we talked about it, the better we felt about it, so we decided to give it away. It always takes someone to get the program started, and even though we're not the first, but we're certainly up in line, and especially on this end of the creek. And I think that the more, or with several properties being gifted, that it will set the tone for other people to do the same and follow suit.
Our underlying belief, foundational belief, is you need to live and breathe in your community. As we're taken away, we need to contribute something back. You prohibit flooding and you get the recreational component. Just as a person who grew up in Houston, who loves Houston, I'm concerned about flooding, and I think the real solution is for somebody to acquire easements on all the bayous and creek, and it's probably going to need to be a model, a combination of public money and in Donnie and I's case, private money.
We feel good about doing it and feel privileged to have the opportunity to do it, and we hope, like I said, that this is a stair step to helping things move forward.
Congratulations, Joe and Dawn. You have set an example of what an impact a partnership like this can have. We are so grateful for your donation and the legacy that you have created for our community. The Bayou Land Conservancy has a great staff, but there's only 5 of us. So we really rely on volunteers. From our Spring Creek Nature Trail crew that's out every Wednesday doing trail maintenance, to our eco stewards and our conservation crew, our committees and our board members. Volunteers make our world go around. So it's my pleasure to give our Volunteer of the Year award tonight, the Trailblazer. The 2020 Trailblazer is Erin Donato, who has been a true gift to this organization. Erin is in her 3rd year of chairing this event, and she has worked tirelessly and put in countless hours to make the Land Lover Gala a success and help us raise funds to keep Bayou Land Conservancy a sustainable organization so that we can do more amazing projects with people like Joe and Dawn. Erin has been someone we could truly count on no matter what. Erin, congratulations on being our 2020 Trailblazer.
Thank you so much, Jill. And thank you so much for this beautiful award. I will cherish it once I'm no longer holding notes. Thank you. I feel very honored to receive this award because I know a lot of the people that do volunteer with the Bayou Land Conservancy, and they are out there doing some of the really hard work, like chopping down vines, building bridges, and clearing trails, and I chose to help plan their party. It is a very important party, but a party nonetheless. Serving on this committee as the gala chair has been so much fun for me, especially because I've gotten to know the amazing staff that work for the Bayou Land Conservancy. Jill, Melissa, Becky, Suzanne, and Cherie. Getting to know them all over the past 4 years has really been such a highlight. This organization is led by some fantastic, passionate, and talented people, and I am glad to know them. I got involved with the BLC when I moved back to Houston because I wanted to find a way to connect to nature in my own city. Growing up in the suburbs, I felt like I had to leave Houston in order to connect with nature. But the Bayou Land Conservancy is making sure that that's not the case for our community. I have a deeper appreciation for the bayous and watersheds of our region now, and I see the beauty that is a naturally flooded landscape. I love the mission of the Bayou Land Conservancy, preserving land along streams for flood control, clean water, and wildlife. It is so important for us to protect the natural world because we rely on it. It's not just something that we need, that's nice to have, we do need it. We need that clean water. We need the land around us to hold that water so it doesn't go into our homes and businesses. And we need to get outside. More than ever, we really need an opportunity to be outside. Thanks to the BLC, we now have the Spring Creek Nature Trail, which gives people a real ability to connect to nature in their own backyards. I really wish I had something like that Spring Creek Nature Trail when I was growing up here in Houston. The BLC is doing the work to make sure that the greater Houston area is resilient. It's preparing us and our future generations to be healthy, happy, and safe. I'm so proud to be a Houstonian, and I am excited about the direction that our city is moving in. It is organizations like the Bayou Land Conservancy that make our region great, and I'm honored to play a very small role in it. Thank you so much for the award. So, very shortly, you will be hearing from our esteemed keynote speaker, Ben Masters. But before he takes the virtual stage, I would like to introduce a local ecologist that works on the land, BLC's own Suzanne Simpson. We hope that you have enjoyed Suzanne's Ask an Ecologist sessions. And if you haven't tuned in yet, please make sure you check into future sessions on Thursdays at 3 p.m. on Facebook. Suzanne is the Land Stewardship Director, and her job is to monitor the ecological function of all 14,000 acres of land that the BLC protects. So when you support the BLC, you are just adding to Suzanne's places that she gets to visit. The properties that the BLC protects are beautiful and full of amazing biodiversity. And to be honest, I'm not totally sure what Suzanne does should be considered work. A day out in the woods, admiring giant cypress trees and looking at flowers sounds like a pretty great way to spend a day. She's also a herpetologist, and there are plenty of snakes, lizards, and frogs out there to find. And based on Suzanne's Instagram stories, I'm pretty sure she's just out there poking under logs. In all seriousness, though, the BLC is very lucky to have Suzanne's naturalist knowledge and her hard work ethic. So without further ado, I introduce Suzanne.
Thank you, Erin. It sounds like Erin might be on to me, but she's absolutely correct that I have rather won the lottery when it comes to jobs that can be your profession. An important part of what I do every day, an important part of what Bayou Land Conservancy does every day is make sure that the communities in Houston feel connected to the nature that's in their outdoors. Erin touched on a point that I think we've all sort of felt before, which is that in order to get outdoors, we needed to leave Houston. Perhaps growing up, you felt more connected to the outdoor spaces of the Rocky Mountains than you did to the outdoor spaces in your own backyard. But Houston is rightly taking its place as the capital of the newest biodiversity hotspot on the planet that's globally recognized, the North American Coastal Plain. These areas have long been misunderstood, but our forests and prairies hold thousands of endemic species, which means species that are found here and nowhere else. Our keynote speaker tonight, Ben Masters, is helping to tell the story of that wildlife. Ben Masters is a wildlife filmmaker, he's a photographer, and he's an author who studied wildlife biology at the world's greatest university, Texas A&M. Ben has had his films shown in international film festivals where they've won awards, and he's also the winner of the South by Southwest Lewis Black Lone Star Award. Ben makes character-driven films that tell stories of wildlife and wildlife habitat. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Ben Masters.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ben Masters, and it's a real honor to get to be this year's speaker for the Bayou Land Conservancy. Although I grew up in Amarillo, I studied wildlife biology at the greatest university in the history of mankind, Texas A&M, and spent a year in Houston as well. Like a lot of Texans, I didn't really appreciate the wild landscapes and biodiversity of Southeast Texas until I came here and saw it for myself. What an awesome part of the world that you guys get to work in. And it's so incredibly important what y'all are doing. I'm grateful for the efforts that you guys are doing to conserve this special part of the state. I'm one of the lucky few who had the stars align in life, and I'm living out my dreams right now. I'm a wildlife filmmaker based in Austin, and I'm currently in the middle of a 3-year project filming some of Texas's most spectacular wildlife spectacles. We're calling the film Deep in the Heart, an ode to our Texas national anthem. And here is the trailer to the film. Texas. It's more than a state, more than an idea. A place where rivers spring from out of the earth, where wildlife from across the continent converge, and rare animals thrive. It's a land of sky islands and vast plains, of raging rivers and cathedrals of rock, where the magnificence of apex predators is equaled only by the mysteries of its strangest inhabitants. It is a place and a culture like none other. A state worthy of its own blue-chip wildlife documentary. Imagine the series Planet Earth, but focusing on the very best part of the planet, Texas. For the next 2.5 years, our camera team will traverse the well-known and unknown parts of Texas and use state-of-the-art cameras to capture images and behavior that has never been documented before. Starting in the high plains and mountains, the movie will follow the course of water into our aquifers and down our rivers as they carve their way through astonishing landscapes to bring life into our bays, estuaries, and the Gulf of Mexico. For the very first time, Texans will experience the connectivity of our wildlife and ecosystems on the big screen. We will celebrate our many conservation successes, acknowledge our failures, and tackle the challenges that lay ahead. For the wildlife of Texas is a barometer of our own health. Our open spaces critical to our identity. And the love of Texas held deep in the heart. Right now, we're about 80% finished with the cinematography, and I've had the good fortune to see some of the most remarkable parts of Texas. The main character of our film is the flow of water, and the journey it takes from the headwaters of our rivers, through our aquifers, lakes, canals, cities, and all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. If you're listening to this speech, you probably already know about the importance of the journey of water, and how Texas is a huge interconnected ecosystem that is remarkably resilient, but can be pushed over the edge. Conserving riparian habitat and allowing as natural of river flow as possible is crucial for both the survival of wild Texans and us. Take, for example, the alligator gar, a species we filmed for Deep in the Heart, and a species that thrives in the habitat that Bayou Land Conservancy protects. These ancient fish live in the rivers, but during flood events, they swim through the floodwaters to shallow backwater areas to spawn. Females release pheromones, which the males follow. The females deposit eggs in the shallows, which are fertilized, and the adults then recede back to the river. The eggs quickly hatch and grow incredibly fast so that the fry can make it back to the river before the floodwaters recede. The life cycle of gar and many of our native fish depends on natural river flow and suitable habitat along our river bottoms. Gar, a species that has lived for millions of years, have been eliminated out of many of our rivers across the United States. One of their strongholds is in Texas, And it is organizations like the Bayou Land Conservancy that gives me hope for their future. What the BLC is doing is so incredibly important, especially in these distracting times. And I'm so grateful that y'all are out fighting for these habitats and species. And the impacts of y'all's work go far beyond protecting the bayous and river bottoms, which is your focus. The fresh water and nutrients that flow out of the San Jacinto watershed fuels much of the life in Galveston Bay. Without it, the basis of the food chain couldn't exist. And this important nursery and estuary habitat would be deprived from the Gulf of Mexico. It contributes to the health of incredible bird migrations, vast brook race. It is critical for fish species like redfish. The work that Bayou Land Conservancy is doing is important at a continental scale for migrating species. It's providing a place to recreate and learn about nature for an increasingly urban society. And by protecting the bayous and natural waterways, they're contributing to the health of a coastal economy that's integral to our identity as Texans. It's a tough year for everybody this year, but it's so important that we continue to contribute and support organizations like the Bayou Land Conservancy. Thank you for the honor of allowing me to present this speech and for the important work that you guys continue to do. Thank you.
Wow, I cannot wait to watch Deep in the Heart based on that beautiful imagery that Ben was willing to share with us. Thank you so much, Ben, for being a part of our event this year and for supporting the BLC's mission. Your work really complements what the BLC is working to achieve, connecting people to nature, helping them appreciate the amazing biodiversity you can find near your own home here in the great state of Texas. If you'd like to learn more about Ben's work, you can check him out on his website at Fin and Fur Films, and you can follow him on Instagram at Ben C. Masters. I follow Ben on Instagram, and it is definitely worth it. You can get all kinds of behind-the-scenes look at the amazing wildlife that he finds and some really cool shots of ocelots and lions and coyotes. So definitely check him out there on social media. A few more thank yous before we check in on our donation total for the evening. Thank you to our honorary co-chairs, Commissioner and Janet Cagle, who have been such steadfast partners for BLC's mission. Thank you to all of our event sponsors who are noted on the BLC website. We are so gracious for your support through this challenging year. Thank you again to our conservation champions, Joe Swinbank and Don Porch. A donation of 117 acres in support of the BLC's mission. Your gracious gift will be appreciated by all in our community in perpetuity. You are helping make sure that our region is a more vibrant and resilient one. Thank you to the Gala Committee for adapting to this unique year. We usually are planning a very different event in person, but your insight, creativity, and dedication to the team is very much appreciated. Thank you to Peter Jensen, Don McCarthy, and April Haas, and thank you to Melissa Carter, who led us as close to the finish line as she could before she had to cross a finish line of her own. She is celebrating at home with us with her new baby and family member, Henry. Lastly, thank you to the Board of Directors for their support of the event and to Lisa Lynn for her leadership as board chair this year. All right, so now on to the good stuff. Why we're all here tonight, supporting the mission of BLC and raising funds for the amazing work that these leaders do. I hear that we might be crossing the threshold of about $2,000. If you haven't had, retire? 4,700, thank you so much for your support. If you haven't had an opportunity to donate tonight, get that heart pumping. We would be so grateful to have your donations. And if you haven't donated tonight or don't have the means to donate tonight, don't worry, we will take your support in any form. And just know that the Qtego site will be live for 15 days after the event. So you can make a donation on Monday or a few days after that. We will take your ability to support this organization for up to 15 days on the Qtego site. The recorded event will also be accessible via social media, so please share with your friends and family. So, one final big thank you, and that's for all of you who joined us here tonight, for tuning in and for your donations. We are so grateful for you, for taking time and supporting the Bayou Land Conservancy. I hope you are as grateful as I am to have this amazing organization in our hometown, protecting land for all of us, giving us access to nature in a time when we could all use more connection. We are grateful for your continued support, and we hope to see you out there on the trails. We might have our masks on, but our eye smiles will be strong, and we will look forward to seeing you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. If you're enjoying one of your locally Texas craft brewed beer, continue doing that, and we will see you soon. Cheers.